Van D, a dynamic leader with decades of experience building companies and crushing sales. He's been there and done that.
Ladies and gentlemen, hello. My name is Van D.
Inspiring audiences across the country to do it too. Here's Van.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Van Deeb podcast. Today, we're going to get motivated like we always do on this podcast. Today is part 2 of the Winning Attitude and Winning Mindset podcast with Jay Miralles, one of my close friends. He is one of the best entrepreneurs I've ever met, so I listen and hang on to every word he says. Welcome, Jay.
Wow, that just made me smile ear to ear.
You
I appreciate
are smiling.
that, man. Thank you very much.
Okay, well, that's going to do it for our podcast
Okay,
today.
perfect. Thanks. Send me the bill. This show brought to you by Jay's bank account.
Exactly. So Jay, I want to get right into it.
Yes.
And so, we talk about a winning attitude. A winning attitude and a competitive mindset are very, very important.
Yep.
It's kind of hard to not have a winning mindset and not have it's kind of hard to have a winning mindset, not have a competitive attitude.
And I listen to those people, Van, who say, I'm not just a competitive person. Okay, it shows.
Well, then
it shows.
Yeah, then you're one of the 97% that aren't going to get there.
Right. There's a definitive distinction when someone says I'm competitive.
Yeah.
And when someone says, I really don't want to compete.
There's nothing wrong with, say, John's a good friend of mine. John is the top salesman here at this company, but I want to kick his butt.
And that's okay.
There's nothing wrong in that.
No.
Being competitive is going to put more food on your table.
Yes.
It's going to send your kids to college.
Yep.
It's going to send you to nice vacations. It's going to help you accomplish more than you ever dreamed of.
Right.
So I'm very competitive.
Right.
When I first got in real estate, my first 10 years when I worked for another agency, I'm just going to tell you, I wanted to be number one every year. I literally, that was in the back of my mind every day when I went to work. I want to be number one.
Right.
And it, I was obsessed with wanting to be number one. And, it's just like they say, if you reach for if you shoot for the moon and land on the stars, you're still doing great. So if I wasn't number one, if I was number 4, number 3, of course I was mad at myself.
Right, of course.
But at least, I did pretty darn good.
But there was a drive, though, to take you from where you were sitting.
Competitive.
Yes. And you might have been competing against yourself yesterday.
Yeah.
Not just somebody named John. Yep. It might have you said, hey, last week I did 2. Yep. This week, let me try 3.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And being competitive isn't just in business. And it's not just in being successful. You may be competitive at being a parent.
Oh,
you
gosh.
may want to be the best parent of all your friends' kids. You may want that. That's being competitive.
I want to talk about your unselfish competitiveness real quick. So a few months back on your birthday.
Yeah. I turned 20.
Yes. Yeah. That was more than a few. That might have been 24 months. But no, listen. We said we're going to do a fundraiser for Chariots for Hope. You said that, right?
Yes.
And then I said, okay, we're probably going to raise $2,500.
Yeah.
And you said, no, we're going to raise way more than that. Mm-hmm. That's being competitive.
Yeah, that could be considered as being competitive.
It is, because you didn't stop at even what you were comfortable with.
So here's what exactly, Jay, and here's what I preach to students, to entrepreneurs when I speak to them. To companies and businesses is I'm a big fan of Vince Lombardi, okay?
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Vince Lombardi because of one thing, his attitude.
Yes.
That's the only reason why I'm a big fan of his. And some of his quotes that he said, sometimes, they're kind of chilling sometimes, at least for me, because I'm totally into, getting motivated, empowered, and inspired by listening to people. But one of the things that he said is so true. He said, winning isn't everything, but wanting to win is.
I agree.
And I just repeated this to a company that I spoke to the other day. I just said, effort. If you put effort to wanting to be the best you can be and to win, that's winning in my book.
Right.
It really is.
Yeah.
Because if you don't think effort is winning, then if you don't win at what you're trying to do, it's going to work in the opposite.
I agree, because so many people want this. They want the material things. They want things for themselves, for their family, whatever it may be, whatever their thing is. But they're not focused on wanting to do the work, right? Let's win the game. Oh, but that means we have to practice every day this week.
So with your real estate career, Jay, and I encourage anybody wanting to buy or sell a house, call Jay Miralles. He's got one of the best, seriously.
Thank you.
Seriously, you've got one of the best teams I've ever seen before. So you go to work every day, Jay.
Yes.
You've got this incredible real estate team. You're listing houses. You're selling them before noon. Oh, what a bummer.
Yes.
You have this winning mindset. And one of the reasons why I'm so grateful for our friendship is because your attitude. I like to be around people that I learn from. I just do. I learned from you. And you may not even know I'm learning from you. But your attitude, you're always positive.
Thank you.
You've had some, you've had a child with some complications.
Yes.
And, you've had some challenges.
Right.
But you never, ever show it.
Right.
You'll tell me the challenge that you're going through with a smile on your face.
Yeah.
So tell my audience, just give us some takeaways of what you do to have this winning attitude.
Well, I want to tell you this. So I never even think of having the winning attitude.
It's natural to you.
It is. It took a while to become natural,
but
right?
it started out as a discipline, right?
Yes, 100%. It wasn't natural. And as you and I kept speaking, gratitude. I remember the story you told me about the lady that you bought the wine. But here's what I can tell you about my attitude. You can strip me of my money. You can strip me of my car. You can strip me of all my earthly possessions, of everything, and I will start all over. And I will win, because what I value is not money. What I value is not the money. And I left a corporation. I was making great money there, and I wasn't happy.
You're actually making a lot of money without having to put a ton of effort.
Right.
Because it was so routine for you.
We built the system.
You built the system, right.
But to remain competitive, I had to do, and to remain with my mindset of winning attitude, I had to do what I loved. And I get to do now what I love. It took me a while to transition, but Van, you could take it all away and I will start all over again, because it's what I love to do. That's my winning mindset. If I don't feel good about it, or I feel like it's not me, I'm not going to do it, because I know I'm not going to win in it. And that's okay.
Well, that's great. That's great advice for everybody. But so let me ask you this.
Yeah.
So not everybody has the luxury of you and I and our good buddy Pat over here on the boards.
Yes.
Not everybody at Parkville Media, where all your podcasts originate from.
Parkville.
But not everybody has the attitude of, I get to go to work today.
Right, they don't.
They have the attitude of, oh man, I got to go to work today.
Yes.
So not everybody has that attitude. And it's a work in progress. It's a discipline.
Right.
It's constantly, reminding yourself of how much better your life will be if you develop that attitude. Now, the other thing I want to make clear is, don't beat a dead horse.
Right.
If you're in a career that you truly don't like and it's messing with you, there's nobody making you stay there. It's like, my dad. He was with Duncan Hines for over 20 or 30 years, and he was their number. Everybody loved him. He was just a great, great guy. But I want to tell you something. Back then, in that generation, you could hate your job and you don't leave.
Right.
Because the goal is, I want to be here 30 years and retire.
With the golden watch.
But that's not, the loyalty isn't respected today.
Right.
The loyalty is not respected today.
Right.
And so I really believe to have a happy home life, to have a great attitude, a winning mindset, I really believe that you have to, keep searching for what's going to make you happy.
Yes.
Don't be afraid to jump ship and to keep trying to find something that will make you happy. I'm one of the few that started out at 23 years old in real estate.
And you're still doing it.
And I'm still doing it.
Because you love it.
Because I love it. It's my passion. But that's very rare. A lot of people don't find what they love until they're in their 50s. That's a stated fact.
Yeah.
So our lives are so valuable and so precious. And those of the people out there that are not doing what they want to do, they may not realize it, but it affects everybody. It affects the people that they love. It affects their children. I'm sure somebody that's coming home from work that's not doing what they want to do isn't going to be in the greatest attitude when they get home.
No. But as you're talking about being competitive, right, for this mindset, if you're not competitive, you're not going to be relevant. Do you believe that?
I totally believe that.
Because you're serving your clients, your corporations, the people that that you're doing consulting for, you're competing because you want to remain relevant. I know many real estate agents, fans, that have been doing it as long as you, and they're outdated and they're miserable. They're still closing business, but they're miserable.
Well, and that's something that I talk to a lot of young real estate agents. Matter of fact, I'm speaking to a large group of entrepreneurs tomorrow, and a lot of those are real estate agents. The people that have been doing it as long as I have sometimes will shun these guys, or they'll complain about them, and they just, they don't like the way they do business. I've developed the winning attitude of, I go into every conversation with somebody that's brand new in real estate, I want to learn something from them.
Yes.
It's not like, hey, man, I'm Van Deeb. I've been doing real estate for 40 years. Right. I know everything. Well, you know what? I don't.
You don't.
And I don't want to.
That's awesome.
So I go into every engagement with a young business professional as, I want to learn something from you. And you know what? They know it. They can tell with my attitude.
It's a different mindset.
Yeah. And then when you do, it makes you want to offer it. I offer a lot of unsolicited advice. As I'm trying to get better. But
it's valuable.
It's valuable, but I'm trying to get better at that. But I always throw it out there. Do you want my opinion?
Or do you want the truth?
But, the people that are negative, and that's a whole nother topic, and you and I have talked about that in the past, to have a winning mindset and a winning attitude,
yes,
you've got to surround yourself with the same like-minded people.
Right.
You just do. You've got to surround yourself with people that feel the same way about life, that are glad to be here.
Just like we haven't seen each other for a while.
Right.
When I got right around you, we already know that we can pick up from where we left off, and our mind is we do think alike.
It's because you've been too busy selling every house in town.
Well, you're doing the same.
No, I just say I am. See, that's what happens when you get older.
Yeah.
You say you do things, but you really don't.
Oh, well, your results prove otherwise. So
no, I'm just kidding.
No, but Van, you're right. You have to find the right people because just like isolation, when you're by yourself, it's hard to go to the gym, right?
Yeah.
But if you go and there's a group of people encouraging you to go to the gym, guess what you're going to do? You're going to go to the gym.
That's exactly right. And being around people that encourage you is huge. You don't want money from them. You don't want them to pick you up at 3 a.m. to give you a ride. You don't want to borrow sugar from them. You just don't want them to bring you down.
Right.
What is it? And here's something I always, and this was a winning mindset that I developed. I didn't always have a winning mindset.
Sure.
I'll tell you right now, I did not always have that. But when I see people today, I practiced this. I made it a discipline. And when you make something a discipline, it becomes a habit.
Yes.
And eventually it becomes natural to you.
Right.
I make a habit, and I don't even know I'm doing it now. When I walk in to see somebody, first thing I say is something to make them feel good. And I don't even know I'm doing it.
Yeah.
The first thing I do is I think of what can I say or something that's positive to start out the conversation, making them feel good.
I notice that whenever we visit or, when we're together or even the server or when you go to our brokerage and you talk to the gal at the front desk, everybody. Doesn't have to be the CEO. No. It could be the front desk. Right?
Exactly.
Seriously.
Yeah. You want to always treat everybody like they're just as important as the next guy. This is all components of having a winning mindset and a winning attitude. But here's the thing. you can't look for people to remedy this for you. You can't.
Right.
You've got to create this mindset. You know, when you hear me talk like in part 1 of this series on a winning mindset, I talked about looking in the mirror.
And telling yourself.
It really does work. Do you want to hear? I mean, I'm probably the dorkiest motivational speaker you'll ever meet, but that's okay. But you know, I used to look at myself in the mirror.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 or 3 hours, and then no, I'm kidding.
Maybe 2 or 3 times.
Well, hey there.
Good
no,
luck.
but
Who brought you here?
What you doing later, big boy? But I used to look at myself in the mirror, and I used to say this all the time. Don't come home unless you've been productive. Well, in my mind, I just got done telling myself what I have to do today.
Right.
Do not come home unless you've been productive.
Right.
Well, productive can mean a number of things to different people
Right.
in their lives.
Right.
It can mean working hard to provide.
Right.
To me, in my career, the majority of it was go get a listing.
Right.
Go out and sell a house. Do
Right.
something.
Right. Not just a list of to-dos.
Do anything.
Not just a checklist of list to-dos, because those are easy.
No, don't
You have
just
to
do
be
the
things
maintenance item. Create something new.
that challenges you.
Yeah.
That changes you. Yeah.
And being around people. I mean, I don't wake up every day. I mean, I'm not. Of course, I'm human. Well, some people would.
Yeah, they don't. You're
probably
bionic.
say, "Well, you sure you're human? You're an alien." But no, some days I wake up, I'm not in so great of a mood.
I've talked to you on those days.
Yeah, well, I've just been like kind of down in the
Yeah.
dumps. I mean, I'm human, but all it takes is to be around one person or see something that will give me back my winning mindset.
Yep.
And I've said this so many times, and people that are listening to my podcast that have been in my audiences, they've heard me say this a million times because it's so important to me. One day I wasn't feeling the best. I just was kind of down. I had to stop at Walgreens for something. Got my head down a little bit.
Yep.
The guy behind the counter says, "Hey, I really like your tie." Now, you think that's in his job description,
No.
in his manual? When Van
No.
Deeb walks into him, he said, "You like his tie?" He doesn't know who I am.
No.
And I looked at him and I kind of paused. My whole mindset shifted
Yeah.
because I was around somebody that gave me back my winning mindset.
Bit of positive
That
energy.
somebody said, "I like your tie." He made me, it changed. I had a spring in my step. My head wasn't down anymore.
Yes.
I felt good. I walked out of there and like, okay, that guy just gave me back my winning mindset.
When you went into your car, did you look in the mirror at your tie?
For about 30 minutes, I looked at
Think
my
about
face
that.
and then I looked at my tie.
But it made a difference. It made a difference.
So people that want a winning mindset, you've got to expose yourself to people that can help you.
Yes.
And to get there and use that. Let somebody's compliment charge you.
Yeah.
Let somebody that they say to you, you're great at what you do, or
Yes.
I'm grateful for the person you are. Let
Right.
something, when they give you a compliment, use that as fire to
Yeah.
create that winning mindset.
And accept that compliment. I think people have a problem with that.
I always have, I'm just a hardworking salesman.
Yeah.
But accept it as right, but you've got to be around the right people. Now, do you think being around the wrong people is going to help me with my winning mindset?
You're going to go dead set, heartache, broke.
You just are.
Right.
You've got to learn, and that's something that we're going to talk about in part 3 of our series, Jay, on having a winning mindset, because that is really huge. You're the average of the 5 people that you hang out with the most, and if you want that winning mindset, I'm telling you, you've got to. You just have to be around those positive people. So I'm going to save some of this good stuff for part 3.
You're getting fired up.
Yeah, so thank you, Jay Miralles, for being a part of this podcast. A Winning Mindset, part 2. Thank you so much for listening today. I'm so grateful, and I hope you get something out of this and it helps change your life in a great way. Don't forget to please rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast. I'm super grateful that you tuned in. See you soon.
A Parkville Media Production.